In today's video, I'm going to be doing a quick book review on Jocko Willink's Discipline Equals Freedom. I'm going to be talking about the original one and how it compares to the new expanded version, MK1 Mod 1. So if you're new to this channel, normally we don't talk about books. I teach striking, so Muay Thai, kickboxing, and boxing techniques, and I also talk about weightlifting and athletics and how it relates to combat arts. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get into my gym right now. Not only has COVID been kind of a pain in the ass this last year, but we also had a fire next door to us, and even though our gym didn't get burnt down, there was a ton of water and smoke damage, so we're not able to get into the gym to teach classes, which means I am not able to get into the gym to shoot videos or anything else. So I figured I would talk about these books because they do relate to kickboxing and Muay Thai and all combat arts and physical training. So if you're a coach, if you're a fighter, if you're a student who's just looking to level up their game, there's a lot of great information in these books, so I highly suggest checking these out. So the first book came out a few years ago. Physically, they look pretty much the same. One's a little bit bigger and brighter. Size-wise, they're the same, but this one has about 50 more pages. I think it's actually 48 more pages. The book is broken down into two sections. There's thoughts and there's actions. As far as the actions are concerned, they're basically workouts. They're the same in both books. But around page 90 in the new edition, there's some more thoughts, and there's about 48 more pages there. So I'm gonna go through how I use this, how I enjoyed reading it, and how I use it as a coach, and how I think you could get some benefit out of it as well if you're a fighter or a coach. So there's a ton of great stuff in here. If you're familiar with Jocko, he's a former Navy SEAL commander for Task Unit Bruiser. They're one of the most highly decorated Navy SEAL units in the Iraq War. So the guy knows a lot about training, he knows a lot about discipline, he knows a lot about leadership and control. This is where this book comes in, because a lot of people look for an extrinsic, like external motivation to get them going, to get things done, where this book talks about internal, like developing internal discipline, cultivating it from the inside, so you don't need external influences. You can get things done yourself. I will go through how I use this as a coach, how I've been using it to make myself a better coach and help make my classes better and help make my fighters better. If you go to in the first one, page 24, there's a passage. By the way, these passages are all basically like this. They're about 2 pages. Some of them are a little bit longer in the new book. And you can read through it real quick. You can read this whole book in like 2 days. It's only a couple hundred pages. But I keep going back and finding little things and seeing how I can implement them in my classes and just in my day-to-day life. And I'll go back and I'll reread those pages at night. So maybe I'll just read like 2-4 pages, something like that, get an idea of it, see if I can implement it throughout my day. I go back at the end of the day and kind of see how I could have used that better, or if I used it or whatever, right? So it's kind of one of those books you can kind of keep rereading and getting things out of it, getting lessons out of it. So if you go to the first book, page 24, it's in both books actually, but you go to page 24, there's this excerpt called Until the End. And this is something that as a coach or a fighter, you're gonna recognize. It's very good, okay? So something I saw, this is Jocko's words, something I saw in combat that I later tried to train out of people was the tendency to relax once the primary objective of a mission was complete. I tried to train that out of them because you can't relax until the entire mission is complete. This is what I do with my students in classes. We'll be doing some bag work. I'll have them do like a punch out or like grab the bag and throw a bunch of knees, and I'll say break. And I make sure that they understand that it's not take a break, drop your hands, relax. It's break distance, re-engage, keep your hands up, keep protecting yourself the whole time, keep control of the situation because the fight's not over yet. So I'm trying to train out of them the times where they take a little break, they drop their hands, they relax. There's no time for that. You're fighting until the end of the fight, until the whole thing's done, the mission's complete. As he says, you don't take any breaks. So I read this in this book, I realize, okay, cool, this is something that I'm doing right. And if I wasn't doing this already, this is a new tool that I can use to help develop my classes better and help develop my students and my fighters to become better. So that right there, to me, is like invaluable. When you start picking up these tools, you can apply them to yourself, but you can also apply them to the people around you that rely on you to help them out, right? There's a lot more than that. That's just the first paragraph. I'm not gonna read you the whole thing because I don't wanna get copyright strikes. That's a pain in the ass. That's in both books. Now in the new book, there's something I really like. This is something I was already kind of implementing, but it shows me a way to do it maybe a little bit better. This is on page 112. It's called I Feel Fine. It basically talks about scuba diving and the inherent dangers in scuba diving. In the event of an emergency, we are trained to follow procedures, to proceed to the surface of the water in a certain way, to inflate our life jackets in a certain way, to signal for help in a certain way. And when you come up to the surface after having some kind of diving-related emergency, a medic or diving medical officer will ask you how you are feeling. Only one response is acceptable: I feel fine. The roots of the statement come from the fact that a diver on the surface may have suffered from a diving emergency, which means they might have suffered from some level of neurological damage. So you can see, as a fighter, as a coach of fighters, where you can start using this, right? You have a fighter in the ring, they take a hard headshot, they're a little bit wobbly. You can have a way to make sure that they're okay in between rounds. They come back to you, you have your own thing. Maybe it's I feel fine, maybe it's their favorite food, maybe it's a mathematical question, but you have something ready. So when they come back, you ask them the question. If they don't give you the right answer, you know that there's some problem, right? Maybe that you need to call a fight, or maybe you need to just keep an eye on them and make sure they don't take any more damage. And if they do, then you throw in the towel, right? If they come back and they answer the question fine, then you know that they're fine. A quick way to check for immediate signals of this are seeing if they remember to give the proper response, and 2, seeing if they have the physiological agility and fine motor control to properly enunciate the F's, which take more effort than many other letters. So if you have your own code with your fighters, maybe you want to make sure there's a couple of words that start with the letter F, just because you can kind of see if they can enunciate that or not, right? So again, this is just another tool you can put in your pocket as a coach to help make sure your fighters stay safe, right? One of the best things a coach can do, you're training them how to fight, right? But you want to keep them safe. You want to keep it so that when they're 67 years old telling their grandkids stories about fighting, they can actually remember the fight, right? So that's just a couple things. I've read you less than 2 pages out of this book, and you can see how these tools can be used as a fighter and as a coach to make everything better, right? To level up your game. And if you're not a fighter, if you're not a coach, you're not even training, you should be, but if you're not, there's just tons of information in here that's going to help you become better, right? Okay, I'm going to leave links below for both of these books in the description below so you can check them out. They're Amazon links, so you can order from them. They are affiliate links, so if you do click on those, I get a little slice of the pie. Helps keep the channel going, helps me keep going. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.